Yeah. Perfect. Will you look at the camera for me? Or you can stay serious. You don't have to smile. You can do whatever you want. Thank you.
Good evening, Rams. My name is Emma Iannacone, and I'm your host for the Humans of CSU show. Tonight we feature notable Rams that make our community great. Tonight I'm joined with Deborah Misiraka, Jackie, and Tyler from the Range of Motion project that happened this summer. Can you guys tell me a little bit about what the Range of Motion project is?
Sure, I can start. I'm Deb. So Range of Motion project is a nonprofit for impact healthcare organization. It began in 2005 with co-founders Dave Krupa and Eric Neufeld. And they have facilities in Guatemala, Ecuador, and the U.S. And the program that our students participated in, the innovation program, began in 2017. And so they are dedicated to providing prosthetic and orthotic care to underserved populations in those countries.
So this is the second year that that's been going on?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. So what made this program start with the prosthetics care specifically?
So I'm an academic advisor, and I work with students like Jackie and Tyler. Mm-hmm. And so as an advisor, I often hear recurring themes, and those themes are basically that engineering students want to study abroad. They're not sure how to fit it in their curriculum. They want hands-on practical experiences, and they also want to help people. And so I started doing some research, and basically as one of my advisees kind of helped me find this organization. She said, I think there's a nonprofit organization in Denver that works with prosthetics. Mm-hmm. I was like, cool. So I basically just Googled it and found Range of Motion project, and it just seemed like a perfect fit.
Yeah, awesome. So what did you guys think of the program? You two obviously went to Ecuador and helped with amputees building prosthetics, or was it, how did the program work? What is it that you guys did?
Yeah, so basically how it worked is we were all kind of given a prosthetist to follow. Most of them were local Ecuadorians, so that was kind of neat, getting to see that cultural aspect of it as well. I was shadowing David Krupa, who was the co-founder of ROMP, and so that was also an interesting thing because he's an expat living in Ecuador. He has his own business down there and everything outside of ROMP. And so the days kind of looked like, we would meet with patients, we would get them kind of set up, for the day, so that way they weren't, didn't need anything. We started out by casting them, and then would take those casts and make some negative molds and back and forth, and eventually you get a socket of sorts, and that kind of like cheap plastic socket is what they would use to make sure that it fit well, and then from that we would add, or we would go to developing like a full-on socket, and attaching like all the parts that were donated and so on and so forth. So we were kind of doing a little bit of everything that the prosthetists were doing, except for like the nitty gritty, like how do you make all the cables attach, mm-hmm. how do you, like screw things in, the measurements, so.
There was a very personal component to it as well. We worked directly with the patients, like Tyler mentioned, but we actually got to interview them as well. So there was a series of questions that we got to ask them, including, what is it like to be an amputee? What happened to you? How long have you been an amputee? Have you had a prosthesis before today? And so we really got to know the people that we were working with. And there was actually, there was obviously a language barrier there as well. But we had translators, and you pick the language up pretty quick when you're there. Try to pick up the language pretty quick while you're there, and you recognize words. But yeah, there was a very personal aspect to it. You got to know the patients and their families, and you got to know your prosthetists as well.
Awesome. How long were you all there for?
I think we were in Ecuador for 8 days.
8 days. 8 days.
Wow.
Two flying.
Yeah, very short.
Okay. Yep. So how many amputees did you treat during those 8 days?
We treated 18 total, mm-hmm. And we delivered 20 prostheses, I believe. Or no, it was 16 with 20 prostheses. That's what it was.
16 with
20,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there was a high impact. They kind of have this graduation ceremony at the very end, where all the amputees get up and thank everybody for everything that they did, because it's this intense, just nonstop, go, make these prostheses and get these people out of here, because some of them drive days to get there. They would take buses. I think one of the pictures that you've been showing of Valentin. He was a double arm amputee. He had a trans radial, right there. He had a trans radial and a transhumeral, and he was such a happy-go-lucky guy. He just wanted to go back to work and stuff. Like, it was awesome to kind of get to meet him and everything.
This was a guy that was so impressive to me because he had been through so much. It was from an electrical accident, and then he had waited a long time for his prosthetic devices. He actually got his master's degree and typed it out with his feet. So the resiliency and the determination of these people that the students got to work with was just really incredible.
Yeah, that is incredible.
None of them were like downtrodden or upset. You know, we asked a lot of them, you know, what's the hardest part about being an amputee? And I had 3 of my 4 patients say, nothing, we're fine. It's normal. You know, it would just be nice to have a prosthetic. And we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part about the trip? Obviously, working with the amputees must have been incredibly uplifting and inspiring. But what else was awesome about the trip?
For me, I loved the personal aspect. That's what really kind of hit home with me. As an engineer, the stereotype is that you don't often work with people. And so this was kind of an experience where you got to be an engineer, but you really got to work with the people that you're directly helping. And I think that's the part that really inspired me the most.
Yeah, I'd have to say pretty much in the same vein. You get that like personal connection, and seeing like what you helped build and design is like impacting somebody's life immediately. I was with Valentin, with Dave Krupa, and we like once we fitted him and everything, like 2 seconds later he was like grabbing stuff. He was just like, he dropped something on the floor and everybody's like, I'll get it for you, and he's like, no. Boom, and he grabbed it, and like that was just so heartwarming and amazing, and so yeah, it's indescribable almost.
Yeah, it's incredible. Did you attended it? Right?
I did, yes. It was myself and Ellen Brennan-Pierce. She's a research scientist and instructor of our senior design course that these 2 students are actually taking this year. And what's super cool is that they've taken this experience and moved this into a senior design project. So they're actually creating a project based on the study abroad experience. So it's not just you go and you help and you do this thing and then it's over. There's still impact happening. So I think that was at least one of my hopes for this program, and so it's really exciting to see these students who are just amazing people continuing this work here on campus.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What an incredible program.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. We're going to take a quick short break, and we'll be right back with Professor Young-Eun Park.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Listen, I realized that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. but I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Back to Humans of CSU. I'm here with journalism professor Young-Eun Park. Hi, Young. How are you?
Hi, good.
Good. So, Young, you came here from South Korea, right?
Yeah, but right before that, I was in Austin, Texas, and then before that, I was in Bloomington, Indiana. So.
Okay. So this isn't your first time being in America,
No.
right? So what brought you specifically to CSU?
Because I got a job as an assistant professor, and then last year I had the opportunity to have an interview with other schools, and then CSU. When I visited here, like I got really good impressions. The faculty seems to be really collegial, and the students are really amazing. So I decided to come here, and then it's been 2 weeks, but yeah, I see that they are really collegial, and the students are really passionate, and then they are really open to discuss.
Oh, good. I'm glad that
yeah.
you're liking it here.
Yeah.
Has it been a pretty easy transition?
Yeah, but couple of 3 to 4 days when I first got here, like I had some symptoms of mountain sickness.
Oh,
so like
from
I
the
had,
elevation.
Yeah. So I had some headache and the fatigue, but except that everything was perfect.
Good, great. And you came here with your husband and your kids, right?
And also puppy.
And puppy. Oh, how's everyone else taking the move?
Yeah, they are really doing great. And then I think I was just the one who had some. Symptoms.
You got hit with the symptoms, yeah. Okay, so tell me what classes you're going to be teaching this fall.
For this fall semester, I'm just teaching one course, which is public relations. And then next semester, I'll be teaching 2 courses in public relations area. That may be campaign and also public relations, and maybe some research. And then that all are related to public relations.
Awesome. What did you teach when because you've been a professor before?
Yeah, I taught as an instructor at my university. So I taught public relations writing and also public relations research, and also some work related to principle of public relations. So yeah, all area in public relations.
Right.
I have taught. Yeah.
And your husband is also a professor or an instructor?
Yeah, he's an instructor right now. He has a background in advertising and marketing. So right now he's teaching digital promotion and persuasion.
Awesome.
Yeah, in journalism department. Yeah.
What's it like working with your husband in the same department?
We have a common research interest, but advertising and public relations are really distinct area, but still we are under the social science, and also sometimes it is related to consumer behavior. So we know when we are talking about our subject or when we are talking about research, so we could get some advice from each other, and sometimes we could get really harsh critic each other. Sometimes it's really hard to get like a more objective and then critical thoughts if you are asking some other person. But because we are really close, because we are a family, so we can be more transparent and then talk more directly about the project or research. So that's a good thing.
Makes the communication a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what do you think of Fort Collins so far?
I heard a lot of good things about this city. So the city is not really big or not really small. It's a really good size for me and our family. And also it's a really good place to raise kids. And also I see a lot of interesting things going around in the town. So yeah, I think that's a really good thing. And also great weather as well. And then you have a mountain.
Yeah, we have Horsetooth, so it's a little bit less than just flat.
And especially the weather. I was always in a kind of extreme weather.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Austin it was really humid and then warm. In Indiana we had a lot of winter with the gloomy days. And then before that I was in Gainesville, Florida, also humid and then a lot of rain days. But here, weather is perfect.
Yes, awesome. So when did you move from Korea to America?
I think 2006.
Okay.
I was in California just for studying language, and then I went back to Korea. And then I think 2009, I came back again for my master's, and then I came back again to South Korea. And then at the time, I worked for a public relations agency, so that was a really good opportunity for me to have some practical experience. And then I came back to here again.
So just bouncing back and forth across the oceans, you know.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest culture shock when you did come to America the first time?
First thing that I remember back in 2006, there are so many products and so many brands that I need to choose. So diversity, maybe, but diversity in terms of the people, but diversity in terms of all the lifestyle. So that was kind of really new thing for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, from shampoo, there's a million things that you can choose from.
Yeah.
Well, probably a few too many things to choose from. So, are you feeling homesick at all? For Austin is where you lived right before CSU, right?
Not really.
Not really.
Yeah.
Good.
I really did a lot of travels previously, so I think that it's just like a natural part. So
awesome. Yeah. So what's your favorite part so far?
Here? Weather.
The weather. Oh yeah, you mentioned that already. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Young. I really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be right back with Dr. Andre Fagan from the band department, from the new director of the band, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Hey! So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the
Listen, I realized that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
You are listening to 90.5 KCSU Fort Collins with DJ Mean Beats,
DJ Nightshade, DJ Wildcard. Music to me is one of the best creative outlets that I can think of.
An escape from the real world.
Music to me is an expression of love.
To go from like folk to hip hop to like classic rock, 1960s bossa nova. With music, there's like no boundaries.
I work here because I love music, and you do too.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Hey there, Rams. If you're just tuning in right now, we are watching Humans of CSU. I'm joined with Dr. Andre Fagan. Dr. Fagan, can you tell me a little bit about your new position here at CSU?
Sure. I am the new Assistant Director of Bands and Assistant Professor of Music in the School of Music, Theater, and Dance.
Awesome. How are you liking it so far?
It's absolutely fantastic. It's a great place, wonderful students, a fantastic program. I'm having a really great time. You know, we started weeks before school started, so the week doesn't, even though school has just started, it doesn't feel very new because we've been going at it for a while, but it's been absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
Absolutely amazing.
I've been told, I didn't attend the first football game, but I've been told by multiple people that it looked like you were having so much fun up there for the first performance at the new stadium.
I'm really excited. You know, I continue to tell the students constantly that it takes energy to produce energy, and they've just been really fantastic in building a lot of great momentum and a lot of excitement building up to this game. This was a really fast turnaround for us. I met the band from a rehearsal standpoint about 14 rehearsals ago.
Oh, wow.
And so when we got to the first football game, we had only been together for 14 days.
Oh my God.
So they were absolutely fantastic and amazing. It would have been hard to tell that we had just met.
Good. That's great. I can't wait to see you guys this weekend.
It's exciting, right? And it's the Rocky Mountain Showdown. What a great time.
Right.
Right? So we're really looking forward to that performance as well. I really just left rehearsal about an hour ago to come here in preparation for that. So the students are excited. I'm very excited. This is my first Rocky Mountain Showdown, so I'm looking forward to this game against this in-state rival in this amazing NFL stadium. I think it's going to be really great. We're really excited.
Absolutely. So what are you looking forward to most for this year and the upcoming years that you're going to be working with the band?
For me, I want to capitalize on a renewed connection for the students as it relates to pride and what it is that they do, spirit in terms of what it is that we bring, and just performance excellence. And I think that the university and the School of Music, Theater, and Dance has been doing a fantastic job in that effort, and we just want to take that to the next level. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the students grow and enhance and and develop. And they've handled things very well. They're not very used to me, but they have been really open and just fantastic students to what we're trying to do this season.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you probably know, a couple of years ago they axed the Trombone Suicides performance. Any thought about bringing that back?
So I have no idea what that even is.
Oh, well, we have a video right here, so as soon as they get information, we can show you. So you've never heard of this before?
No, I've not seen this.
Okay, well, here we go. This is probably an older video from quite a few years ago, and a little shaky at that too, but that's okay. And this is something that CSU started too, and quite a few schools, including high schools, have kind of copied this.
Huh.
So a couple of years ago, when it was taken off of the things that you guys can perform, it was kind of controversial. People were a little upset about it because it's such an interesting number that they do. Here we go. There it is. It's so scary.
Yeah, I can tell you that my number one thing about viewing this is that it looks dangerous.
Yes.
And not sure that that's the point and purpose of what it is that we're doing.
You want to keep people's heads on, right?
You want to keep this. You want to keep the students safe, certainly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. Safety's priority.
Safety is always priority. Always priority.
So, how is the band responding to the changes? The new assistant director, etc.
So I think the students are responding positively. I think as with any change in leadership, there's always a get to know you period, and we're in that right now. But I think we're handling that that well together. It's not stopping us from getting our job done. I think we're getting to know one another. I'm getting to understand them and a little about their history and the depth of what excellence means to them. And I think in that same breath of fresh air, they're getting to understand that, from my point of view. I talk to the students constantly about this, again, this renewed sense of spirit, of pride, and excellence. And I'm really adamant about driving those three ideas home. As the largest and most visible student organization on campus, I think that how people view us in the outside community is very important. And we, as the marching band and as an entity of the School of Music, Theater, and Dance, we want to be constantly a reflection of those two entities. We know that CSU is a very proud university. You can tell when you walk around this beautiful campus. We want to be a byproduct of that. So when people see the marching band, I hope that they will continue to view it like I do, which is the front door to Colorado State University.
Yeah, I love that. That's a really good analogy for it. So why was the run-on charged? The open to the games?
I'm not sure.
No worries. We'll skip that question. So tell me a little bit about what your background is.
Excellent. Well, before here, I was the director of bands at Coastal Carolina University in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Before that, I was the associate director of bands at the University of Texas at El Paso. As the associate director, both of those had me dealing with both the concert sides of things, which I do here. I also conduct the symphonic band, as well as teach undergraduate conducting. My doctorate is in conducting, in instrumental wind conducting. My master's is in conducting. And you know, for me, all of my life, I've been involved in music, had a strong passion for it, and a strong passion, you know, for teaching. So I think my career thus far, from being a high school band director a long time ago to the college band director that I am today, has really led me to this moment, and it's really been outstanding. I also, for the past 22 years, have been involved in what's called Drum Corps International, also known as DCI. I was a former conductor of an organization called the Phantom Regiment from Rockford, Illinois, but since then have taught many fantastic organizations that compete at the Drum Corps International World Championships. I currently teach the Boston Crusaders from Boston, Massachusetts. So it's really exciting. And for me, a lot of the excellence from that training and just through that discipline in those marching arts has really informed how I do what I do here at Colorado State University.
Absolutely. So do you still play instruments in your free time?
So my trade now is the baton. I conduct, and that's what I do for a living. Of course, my background was as an independent individual musical artist. I am a saxophonist and a clarinetist, but I don't claim to do those things anymore because I don't. You know, so now my instrument is the little white stick.
The baton.
The baton.
Awesome.
The baton.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Dr. Fagan.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to see what you do with the band this year.
Appreciate it so much.
I'm sure it's going to be great.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to Humans of CSU. Be sure to tune in to CTV tomorrow night for your news, weather, sports, and entertainment. Have a good night, Rams.